A week or so ago, I reached the summit of the Zugspitze, which sits at 2,962 meters and is the highest mountain in Germany. It took me 7.5 hours to cover 13.5 kilometers and climb 2,550 meters of elevation. In this video, I'm gonna give you some highlights of my experience and also some major watch outs you need to be aware of if you wanna try it too. I'm Bernardo Merendino, and this is my solo climb of Germany's highest mountain. Even if you don't go up the Zugspitze, make sure you come to the Hollental, which is this gorge with these waterfalls and rivers. This is just awesome. All right, let's keep on going up the mountain. Alright, so got my Via Ferrata gear on and starting now the fun part of the route. Well, not that it wasn't fun, look at that view. It's amazing. You know, that gorge was just awesome, but now it gets really fun. And yeah, this is the little staircase. Already see some ice in here. Temperature is getting a little bit colder, and yeah, let's see how this goes. Pretty excited. You definitely need a Via Ferrata setup, otherwise if you slip and fall in here, you're looking at a good 500 meters fall or even more. So yeah, make sure you have these couple of bad boys here with you if you're doing this Zugspitze. All right. Let's check this out. Alright, that was pretty cool. It definitely feels a little bit unnecessary to have all the Via Ferrata because there's really no technical difficulty. It's just walking, and I guess it's just, you know, yeah, a little bit of safety because you do have a lot of exposure. If you don't pay attention and you do something stupid, you might fall, and then people are gonna find you way down there. So yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really feel that necessary, but good to have. Definitely recommend you to. All right, let's keep on going. Right now, this section, it's a pretty long scramble. Make sure you got enough of preparation on your quads, because it's yeah, it's a pretty long scramble and there is still a lot more to go. Let's do this. That's the glacier, and yeah, I see at least 2 groups in there, 1 of 5 people and another couple of 2 right parked right in the middle in there. The snow is packed, so it's should be safe to get there with some crampons for sure. And yeah, it's pretty covered with snow, the path in here, as you can see, but I'm pretty glad I started early because now the sun is coming up and the snow is going to start melting for sure, and it can be more tricky to progress onto and to go up this glacier if the snow is melting. So yeah, let's get moving. As you can see, I'm not wearing crampons, even though I'm on the glacier already, just because that the snow is so packed that, you know, and the steps are so well marked that you really don't need the crampons to add that additional grip on the snow. And they actually weight a lot on your feet as well. My legs are pretty tired already, and yeah, so far so good. Crampons not needed, especially because some people up there already helped mark the steps, and yeah, makes my life a little bit easier. Let's keep on moving. Almost done with the glacier. That's where the Via Ferrata start again. Final stretch to the Zugspitze. It's been a nice ride. Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another video about mountaineering. If you're into outdoor stuff in general, make sure to check out my channel. There are some other videos in there that might interest you, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to stay tuned for the next videos coming up. Alright, so Zugspitze. Let me break this down real simple for you. I'm gonna tell you about the good, the bad, and the ugly. No, wait. There isn't really anything ugly about the climbing experience in the Zugspitze. So let me rephrase this. I'm gonna tell you about the good, the bad, and the scary, because there certainly are some scary parts of climbing this mountain, especially if you do it alone as I did. My route of choice was via the Hollental climb, or Zugspitze via Hollental. It's how you find it online if you want to search for it. Basically takes you through this beautiful gorge right in the beginning of the route, in the first third of it, I would say. And honestly, this is the route that you should consider doing too. It is the hardest and the most beautiful one, so really a no-brainer. You basically go all the way up to the Zugspitze summit, and then on the way down you just get the cable car, and after the cable car you can grab a train to take you back to the parking lot where you started. Now, the good thing about climbing the Zugspitze. I think it can be summarized in 3 major points. First, the route takes you through such beautiful and different... First, the route takes you through such different and beautiful... Hey! We just got a new participant in the video here, I guess, as you can see. Hello. She wants to say hi and participate in the video. Hey, someone said something about beautiful? Yes, I am beautiful. Okay. You can be a part of it. Yes? Stay quiet. Yes. All right. So where was I? The route takes you through such different and beautiful areas, right? You start with this easy hike, this easy trail. Then you get through this Hollental gorge, this Hollental climb, which is amazing. You know, it's just this gap between the two faces of the mountain, and you have this river in the middle, the waterfalls. You go through these caves and you're really inside the mountain at that point. It is just amazing. Then you go through a valley just before the big glacier and the snowfield. Valley, glacier, finally to the last Via Ferrata stretch. It's a very long one that will take you all the way to the summit of the Zugspitze. So really, you have it all in this route. It is just amazing. Second, the route is very well marked and maintained. The probability of getting lost in this route is really minimal. In the areas where you might be confused on which way to go, you actually have these red dots or rectangles painted on the rocks that are going to point you in the right direction. The Via Ferrata itself, that you have in several different sections of the route, is pretty solid, I would say. And whenever you have a high exposure area on the route, you're going to have a Via Ferrata, let's say, to give you that additional level of safety. Well, that's when it's not covered in snow, but more about that in a minute. And third, well, the Zugspitze is the highest point in Germany, and there's really nothing like checking that little box, right? So when you get up there, you're going to be rewarded by this 360-degree view of the mountain ranges around you. You can see the valley that you just came up through. You can see the lake. The views up there are just amazing. So yeah, you're going to be standing in the top of Germany. So that's pretty cool. Now the bad. Well, the bad thing about climbing Germany's highest mountain is actually because it is Germany's highest mountain and there's a cable car bringing people up there. Let me explain you why. So you know that moment when you reach the summit with just a few other climbers and you're all kind of quietly admiring those views and, just taking in those views and really, being rewarded by the effort that you just put into that route to get you all the way up that mountain. You're just kind of in a sort of silence, just, admiring that challenge and that mountain and respecting it. Well, forget about all of that. When you get to the summit of the Zugspitze, you're going to be surrounded by a ton of people that just got there by the cable car, which means, you won't be alone. You're going to have people on sneakers walking through the icy rocks on the summit, which is totally dangerous. They're going to be grabbing onto you just because you look like the mountain climber, I guess. And, they're going to be bringing kids some of the times as well, which is crazy dangerous for the kids. Anyway, the summit of the Zugspitze is really a freak show. So you're basically going to get there, you're going to take your pictures, you're going to admire those views, and you're going to get the hell out of the summit into the food stall that's just across the little bridge on the rock that you can take. And you're going to grab a beer and just chill out for a little bit before you actually head down. And to be completely honest, there is a good thing, of course, of having this infrastructure and the cable car, which is basically taking you down. Going down the way you came on the mountain, so the same route via the Hollental, this last piece of the Via Ferrata after the glacier, it is pretty dangerous to go down in there. You would have probably to rappel on a few sections, so it's really not advisable to do so. The best thing is just, save your legs a little bit. You deserve it, and get the cable car down, the fast way down. That will take you all the way to the train station and then to the parking lot. You're going to spend some money on that, of course, because, it's the Alps and everything's expensive there, but it's all right, you deserve it. Now, the scary thing about climbing the Zugspitze alone. Ooh. All right, so there are basically three things. One is kind of scary, and two things are, pretty scary about it. The first thing, and why I'm saying it's kind of scary, it's about exposure. As I mentioned before, you have very long sections with quite a lot of exposure. Exposure, I mean, like when you look beside you, half a meter beside you, there's nothing in there. 500 meters, 1 kilometer down, nothing. So that's what I call exposure. And it's kind of scary only because on most of these sections, or almost all of them, you have the Via Ferrata, right? So you have these steel cables that you can be clipped on with your Via Ferrata set. And if you fall, you of course can hurt yourself, but you definitely won't die because you just be attached to those steel cables. So that's why it's kind of scary. If you got a bad feeling with heights, then it's gonna be more scary to you. If you're fine, then it's easy. There's no technical sections. All right, which takes me to the first actually scary thing about climbing it alone, which relates to the snow covering the Via Ferrata, as I mentioned before. The problem with the snow is that if it covers the Via Ferrata, now you are on a exposed section of it without the safety of the Via Ferrata, right? So that's why you are in what I call no fall zones, because you really cannot fall. If you fall, you're dying. But on the other hand, it's not crazy stuff because, again, it's not very technical. you're just walking over these narrow paths on the snow. The steps are usually well marked because a lot of people go on that route, so it's not something that you have to figure out where you're gonna go. But it can be pretty scary because, again, you have no safety because you're alone. If you go with someone, then that reduces a lot, let's say, the risk of climbing these sections, because you can just be roped together. Your partner is gonna be anchored in the last Via Ferrata set. You're gonna be on the rope. Again, if you fall in that section where you don't have the Via Ferrata, probably gonna be hurt, but you won't die. You fall a few meters, then your partner can help you to get you back on the route again. So yeah, climbing alone can be pretty scary when you cannot belay yourself and there's a lot of exposure. You don't really know what's under the snow in there or the ice or how solid it's gonna be. So yeah, that can be pretty sketchy. To be honest, I didn't go through many of these sections where the Via Ferrata was completely covered by snow. Maybe 3 or 4 along the route on that last section to the summit. And you know, the thing is, it's not, how can I say this? You can actually lean a little bit on the mountain so you don't feel completely exposed to fall to the other side. Yeah, the snow was pretty firm. Again, depends on the time of the day that you're climbing. You need to be aware of that. And basically, if you go on the high summer or in the middle of the summer, you shouldn't have that problem because you shouldn't have that much snow on the mountain. But if you go early on the summer or late on the summer, as I did, then that can be a problem. The second scary thing is what they call the gap. And the gap is basically the space between the glacier and the wall, or the mountain actually, in that last section of the Via Ferrata. And this is totally dependent on the weather conditions and the glacier conditions. The problem is that you can't really know how it's gonna be when you start your trail, or even when you're planning your Zugspitze ascent. You know, a couple of hot days can be enough for to widen that gap, and really you can just go after, I don't know what, 5 hours maybe of hiking and climbing, and then you're faced with this 1 meter, maybe 1.5 meters gap between you and the wall with the Via Ferrata, and it's a pretty crevasse-like gap. It is a crevasse in a way because you're on a glacier, and you really can't get around it. So that's why it's a bit scary. Having to go over that, especially if you're alone, can be pretty sketchy. I was very lucky, you know, there was basically no gap. As I mentioned, there was a lot of snow in the mountain, so the weather conditions were pretty cold, which favored, let's say, the elimination of this gap between the glacier and the wall. So, totally weather dependent. It can be sketchy if you're unlucky. Otherwise, it can be just nothing, as it was really nothing for me. And that was the good, the bad, and the scary about my solo ascent of the Zugspitze. If you have any questions about climbing this mountain, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them. Also, make sure to click the like or dislike button to let me know what you thought about this video. If you are one of the good guys or girls who smashed the like button, then also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Bernardo Marandino and I'll see you here next time. Ciao! Hopefully you didn't sleep through the video like this one did.